Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Alyssa and I am very, very late for Shop Your Shelves. I am really late. I am filming this on May 10th because getting together this list of books has been difficult. This list of books is obscene and I've already read several of these books because we're 10 days into the month. I think I have everything collected here. If I don't have everything collected here, I give up because we're so late. We just need to roll with it now. This is what needs to happen. It is taking me way too long to get this collection of an overly ambitious TBR together. So if you like to watch videos about books and hear people talk about books and you want to follow my bookish life, please consider liking and subscribing. Otherwise, let's just get into this because Oy. And we're filming down here again. I've been filming here now, it seems, for several podcast episodes and a few other things because every time I go upstairs when I'm home alone, Mercy gets into something. She's already tried to eat a book. She ate my readers, the case for my readers. She didn't eat the readers though. She just keeps eating things. She is a puppy. She keeps eating shit and it is a lot. We cannot leave her unattended. So here we go. We are going to start with books I've already completed in the month of May, because obviously they are on my May TBR, and I need to figure out what those books were because I now no longer remember. So I guess first and foremost, I have several piles over here, so we're just going to go through a few of these here. I finished Battle Royale by Kaushun Takami, which was our April TBR lowdown pick. I didn't finish it until May because frankly I found it boring. We are going to have a live discussion of this that's going to go out prior to you guys seeing my Shop My Shelves, so you'll have all of my thoughts on this then. But essentially this is kind of like Lord of the Flies meets what the fuck is that book called? The Hunger Games. It's all these kids trapped on an island and they just like randomly are selected. They wake up on this bus, they're going to this island, and it's this thing that happens every year or so, or every couple of years, and a group of kids basically has to fight themselves in a battle royale until the death, until one man lives and everybody else dies. And it's a fantastic premise, which is why something like The Hunger Games did so well, why Lord of the Flies is a classic. The problem is this book itself, while the way it's written, is just tedious for me, and I did not enjoy it. Some of the death scenes are fantastic, they're gruesome, they're crazy, but I did not get invested in any of the characters, so especially like the main characters, don't care. Could care less. I care less about, give two shits to about what happens to them. Don't care. I just didn't care about this book, and I will probably be unhauling it. And yeah, it's just no. It's a no for me. I also read, and I don't have this down here, so I probably shelved it already, Deanna Raybourne's Silent in the Grave. This is a like mystery with romance, like a cozy mystery with romance set in the Victorian era. I talked about it in a vlog, so I'm not going to talk about it a lot here. I love it. It's a reread for me. I've read this whole series. I really love Brisbane. He's one of my favorite like little romantic heroes. I think he's fantastic, and every time he picks up a violin, just love it. I finished My Heart by Semezdin Mehmedov. I'm going to put a picture up. I can't say his last name. This is a writer from former Yugoslavia. That's the way I should say it. Former Yugoslavia. And he now lives in the US, I believe. And he writes in his native tongue, but he lives here and speaks English and all of that. He prefers to write in his native language, which he talks about in this book, actually. He talks about how people have suggested to him that if he wrote his poetry in English, you know, somehow he would get more whatever, like he would do better if he wrote his stuff in English. But he's like, no, I just don't write in English, so piss off, basically. I actually really love that. So the book's interesting. I can't say a lot about it because it's part of a book prize that I'm judging for, but it's interesting. It's good. I think if you like literary fiction that is somewhat autobiographical in nature and deals with things like refugees and immigration and being a foreigner in the US, this is something that you would probably enjoy. Any further details, I can't really divulge at this time because I don't want to sway people's ideas or sway people's opinions if anybody who is also judging these books is reading it. I finished Very Cold People by Sarah Manguso. Again, I covered this in a vlog, but it's very good, very short, kind of dark, sad girl lit. I think on the fringes of sad girl. For me, it's for others it might not be. It might be squarely in sad girl lit category. But basically you follow this young girl in really? It's a nice day, so everybody's doing stuff. I figured because it's a Tuesday, it would be quieter out there on the roads, but I guess it's not. Anyway, so you follow this young girl named Ruthie as she's growing up in this small town, small, rather affluent town, or has like a good chunk of affluence in it in New England, and you just watch her experience life. It really covers a lot of the things that we keep in the shadows, the darker parts of our existence, the secrets we keep from each other, the things that you don't know when you're a kid, and how you begin to realize how many things around you are fucked up. Definitely a very interesting book. The mother sucks so much. The other thing I finished was Unearthed We're Briefly Gorgeous, which I did not completely cover in a vlog. I think I'm covering it in this week's vlog, so I don't know when you're going to see it, but this book, I'm like speechless, and I'm still trying to figure out how to exactly articulate all of my emotions on this, because this book is just like feels. It is just a bucket of feels. You get mother-son relationships, you've got discussions of being queer, you've got discussions of being an immigrant, Vietnam, the war, sex work, opioid crisis, I mean, just depression. Like, I mean, there's just so much shit in here, and it's so beautifully written, and I can tell without a doubt that he is a poet when you read it. So this is phenomenal. Everyone needs to read it. Super short. Just pick it up. It's amazing. Get the audiobook. He narrates it. I loved it. I also just finished yesterday How to Change Your Mind, the New Science of Psychedelics. What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence by Michael Pollan. I talked about this in this week's vlog, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but essentially it's just a look at exactly what he's saying, how psychedelics are getting this resurgence in medical research and how they are being used in things like treating depression, alcoholism, helping people come to terms with terminal diagnoses, and all kinds of other things. There's a lot of research going on into like the potential benefits of psychedelics in medicine, and it's a really fascinating read. Definitely something that, I mean, we know so little about how our actual mind works, and I always find it really interesting that we're using our brains to try to figure out our brains. It's like a car trying to figure out itself. And it's like, how do you do that? It's crazy to me. That is everything I have finished. And then I've also started The Art of Losing, which is like a family saga. And this is also for this book prize that I am judging. So I literally am like 2 chapters in. So I have to sit down and read this physically because there's no audiobooks in English. And so it's taking me a little while. But this is translated from French, and this is across 3 generations, 3 wars, 2 continents, and the mythic waters of the Mediterranean. One family history leads to an inevitable question: what price do our descendants pay for the choices that we make? It sounds really interesting. The writing is good so far. Don't let my inability to focus on it say anything about the book itself, because this is just a me with a lack of focus thing. But I do have to get through this at the end of May. These are must-finish books. Like, this is a must-finish book, so I have to get through this. There's 2 more books I have to judge for this prize. One is The Membranes, which I will put up on the screen, which is a weird little, like, sort of, I want to say speculative fiction. It's by a Taiwanese author. It's a little weird. It's set in the 22nd century. And I don't hate it. I'm only a couple chapters in, because, again, I can't focus on reading physically right now or ever. Don't let any of that say anything about the book. But it's very, very short, and I should finish it relatively soon. I found that on Hoopla, so I'm going to get through that. I have to finish that by May 30th. And there is one more book I have to judge, and let me see if I can find it. I had 6 books I had to judge. I have read 3 of them. I'm halfway there. I have to get done by May 31st. These are all must-read books for me for this month. And the other one I have to read is Khalil. I'll put a thing up. Yasmina Kadra. This is a gripping first-person narrative about one young man's involvement in France's worst terrorist attack. That's really all I want to say about it. I'm excited to read these translated works for this prize because it's getting me. I'm reading things that I wouldn't have known about. I think that's my favorite thing about judging for this translated lit prize is I'm finding books that I wouldn't have maybe found otherwise. So it's exciting. And I'm trying not to like know too much, especially since I'm judging them. I don't want to know too much about them before I start them. I just kind of want to like jump into them like I did with my heart and have my feelings about them. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So those are like my must reads for the month. The Membranes, The Art of Losing, and Khalil. Those three have to get done by the end of this month. And then we have a bunch of other shit. I'm currently still working on The Bone Orchard, which I would like to finish today. So once we're done recording, I'm going to finish on the Bone. I'm going to focus on The Bone Orchard so I can get that off, because I've been reading that for a while and I keep picking it up and putting it down because it's confusing, frankly. At some point I have to take a break from it because my brain hurts, so I stop. And then I have to start again. And it's not that I don't like it, it's that I can't binge it. And I'm really very much a binge reader. So it's this sci-fi fantasy thing where you have this essentially like concubine that gets tasked with by, it's like the emperor, who is her lover's dying wish that she find out who murdered him, because he knows he's been murdered, and on his deathbed he's like, you must find who murdered me. He's got a couple sons. There's a very brief fight for the throne, and one son takes control, and then there's all kinds of political intrigue. There's lots of weird science things with like mind locks and telepathy and all kinds of stuff. So it's very dark and interesting and weird, and like the concubine lady Charm is also like, it's like she's stuffed inside of her is this lady called the Lady, and the lady doesn't really get to like come out, but the lady is kind of like a necromancer. It's very interesting and weird and bizarre. And I think I said this on a live that if I had to say what it was, if I had to cross this book with anything, I would say it's Gideon the Ninth crossed with Midnight Helm. If you've read both of those and you enjoyed them, you might like Orchard House. I keep calling it Orchard House, don't I? The Bone Orchard? The Bone Orchard. And it's because the Charm lives in Orchard House and they have a bone orchard. And so I just keep calling it Orchard House. Anyway, if you liked both of those books, I feel like you might actually really enjoy The Bone Orchard. But I'm going to finish that today when we're done here, like I said. And on my run, I run out for half an hour and then I walk back. I started listening to book 7 of Leviathan Wakes, and this is Persepolis Rising. I don't even know how to describe this to you because this is the 7th book in a 9-book series. So how do I even describe this to you? But essentially now a lot of our main characters are older, and Holden's thinking about retiring, and there's some stuff going on, of course, in space, some political stuff, and he kind of is getting roped into doing stuff, but like, does he really want to do stuff? And it's very interesting. I kind of like seeing the characters age like this. It's wonderful, and I really hope that I continue to like the series going into this final leg of the stories. But I do love Leviathan Wakes, and once I'm done with this whole series, I'm sorry, The Expanse. I do love The Expanse, and once I'm done, I will watch The Expanse on Amazon. I need to stop calling this Leviathan Wakes, because that's not the name of the series, and I need to stop calling the Bone Orchard the Bone House, or Orchard House. Now I have a third name for it? Oh my god, Alyssa. Focus. And I think that covers everything I have to read for this book prize. Things I've already completed, and the books that I'm currently like in the middle of. So we covered all of that. Fantastic. Now, on to more things. My original TBR was going to include The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. We'll see if I can get to that. Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, which I'm not explaining these books because, yeah. And The House of Mirth because I think it's Girlhood. Alyssa Focus, I believe, references this particular Edith Wharton over and over and over again. Yeah, I think it's that one. And I have it, and I've never read this Edith Wharton, and I really wanted to read it. One day I kind of want to just read based on books that refer to other books and see where that takes me, but I don't think I can get a continuous chain. I don't think I can go from book A to B to C to D, because eventually you're going to hit like the classic it references, and it's not going to reference something else, but maybe it will. I don't know. I think that would be an interesting experiment to just let the books decide your next read, but yeah. So if I can get to House of Mirth, I will get to House of Mirth. Let me see if I can get you a summary in case you don't know what the House of Mirth is about. Also, anybody who uses Storygraph, if you would like to follow me, I'll leave a link down there. Let me know what your Storygraph handle is so I can follow you, because I don't follow anybody over there, and it's kind of sad. I would like to see what everybody's reading. We can do buddy reads together. I kind of like that. Also, if you do it, does anybody actually pay for the Plus plan? And if you do, tell me why. So The House of Mirth is first published in 1905. It shocked the New York Society so deftly chronicled, portraying the moral, social, and economic restraints on a woman who dared to claim the privileges of marriage without assuming the responsibilities. Lily Bart, beautiful, witty, and sophisticated, is accepted by old money and courted by the growing tribe of nouveau riche. But as she nears 30, oh my God, not 30. Her foothold becomes precarious. A poor girl with expensive taste, she needs a husband to preserve her social standing and to maintain her in the luxury she has come to expect. Whilst many have sought her, something, fastidiousness or integrity, prevents her from making a suitable match. I figured that was a really nice classic read to go on the back of Girlhood, which I read last month, which will be in my notable reads whenever the hell I film that. But of course, I went to the library to pick up The Art of Losing, which meant then I picked up 3 more books. So I picked up Severance by Ling Ma, which I have to read by the end of this month. Is It the End of the World or Just Another Day at the Office? Candace Chen, newly minted New Yorker, first generation American, recent orphan, millennial worker bee, loves going to work, she likes the routine and the anonymity of the city. She likes coordinating the production of specialty Bibles, having a project to complete, an object to create, troubles to shoot. Sometimes she likes watching movies in her boyfriend's basement apartment. Lather, rinse, repeat. So Candace barely notices when Shen fever sweeps New York. Families flee, companies cease operation, the subways squeak to a halt. Persuaded by a big payout to be a one-person skeleton crew at the office, she spends her free time photographing the abandoned city as an anonymous blogger New York ghost. Eventually, though, Candace will have to escape from Manhattan, enter a group of survivors led by a power-hungry IT specialist named Bob. Oh God, I love it. They're traveling to a place called the Facility, where Bob promises they will have everything they need to start society anew, but Candace is guarding a secret Bob will certainly exploit. Will her rescuers become her captors? So it just sounds really interesting and fun. So of course I had to get that. And then I had to get this book, The Way Through the Woods on Mushrooms and Mourning, because do I need to tell you again how much I'm getting into mushrooms? A grieving widow discovers a most unexpected form of healing, hunting for mushrooms. Long Late Woon met Elof a month after arriving in Norway from Malaysia as an exchange student. They fell in love, married, and settled into domestic bliss. Then Elof's unexpected death at 54 left Woon struggling to imagine a life without the man who had been her partner and anchor for 32 years. Adrift with grief, she signed up for a beginner's course on mushrooming, a course the two of them had planned to take together, and found to her surprise that the pursuit of mushrooms rekindled her zest for life. I just think that sounds lovely and somehow uplifting. And then I have this massive chunker, Cathedral by Ben Hopkins, which is essentially, it sounds like it's similar to The Pillars of the Earth, a thoroughly immersive read and remarkable feat of imagination. Cathedral tells a sweeping story about obsession, mysticism, art, and earthly desire. It deftly combines historical fiction with a tale of adventure and intrigue. So I don't want to read much more. I have till June, I think, on those, so I'm excited to get into that. Is that enough books? Of course it's not. So then we did, on our most recent, as of recording this, episode 41 of TBR Lowdown, we played a game called Smash or Pass, Bookish edition, where Naomi and I read to each other the first paragraph of several books that have been lingering on our bookshelves, and we smashed or passed based on those paragraphs, and created a 5-book TBR for each other. So I also have to work on reading these 5 books so that we can have our follow-up episode where we talk about our Smash or Pass TBR. I'm hoping that this will help me clear out some books from my shelves. So these are books that I haven't read and I've had for a while, just haven't been picking up, and hopefully if I love them, I'll keep them. If I don't love them, I'll get rid of them. So I have this arc I found of the first book of a young adult fantasy series called Blood Rose Rebellion by Rosalind Eves, which I've never seen anybody talk about. I have the audiobook somewhere I think I found, so I can definitely squeeze this into my month somewhere. Some rebels are made, not born. Born into high British society, Anna Arden has been groomed for a position she will never feel. Though a member of the Illuminates, the ruling class who use magic to exercise power, Anna cannot perform the simplest spells, but sometimes by accident she breaks them. After drawing unwanted attention from the magical elite, Anna is sent from England to her family's once powerful but now oppressive native hungry. Her life might as well be over, but Anna soon realizes that nothing is as it seems. The people around her hold dangerous secrets, from her aloof cousin Naomi to the fierce, handsome Romani Gabor to the magic-wielding Luminates. The society she's known all her life is crumbling into discontent, and her lack of magic may mean more than she imagines. In the company of nobles, revolutionaries, and Romani, Anna must choose: deny her unique power and cling to the life she always wanted, or embrace her gift, spark a rebellion, and change the world forever. I mean, it sounds really good, and I don't know why everybody's not talking about it. It makes me a little nervous. The next up I have is The Dust of 100 Dogs by A.S. King. This starts off with like somebody taking out somebody's eyeball, and like, I was in. In the late 17th century, famed teenage buccaneer Emma Morrissey was on the cusp of escaping the pirate life with her one true love and unfathomable riches. But before she could make that dream a reality, she was slain and cursed with the dust of 100 dogs, dooming her to 100 lives as a dog before returning to a human body with her memories intact. Now, having fulfilled her last curse, she's a contemporary American teenager, and all she needs to escape her no-good family and
finally, sorry, those stickers right in the middle of the summary. Booksellers, do not put stickers in the middle of the summary. What? It's bad enough that they don't put summaries on the backs of books anymore. They just put quotes from other authors. Do not put a sticker in the middle of it.
And all she needs to escape her no-good family and finally establish that luxurious life of her own is a shovel and a ride to Jamaica. I read one A.S. King and it was Switch, and I really liked it, so I'm excited to get to that finally on my shelves. And we also picked An Object of Beauty by Steve Martin. Yes, that's Steve Martin. I am tired, so very tired of thinking about Lacey Yeager, yet I worry that unless I write her story down and see it bound and tidy on my bookshelf, I will be unable to ever write anything else. So writes Daniel Franks, the narrator of a story about the woman he's been unable to let go of for years in the latest novel by best-selling author and acclaimed entertainer Steve Martin. So, I mean, it just sounds like a book about obsession, and I think it's set in New York, and it's got stuff about art, and it just sounds like it's going to be very good. Next up is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I mean, do I need to explain what Lolita's about? Apparently I'm reading Lolita finally. And then this is a book I've had forever. I'm fairly certain my former mother-in-law gave this to me. I cannot find even an audiobook of this anywhere, so I don't know if anyone's ever read this other than my former mother-in-law and soon-to-be me. But it's The Dolphin People by Torsten Kroll. It actually sounds really good. Shortly after the end of World War II, 16-year-old Eric Lenden and his family have fled Germany and joined Eric's uncle Klaus in Venezuela, where they will begin a new life. But en route to Klaus's outpost further inland, they encounter a storm and their plane crashes in the middle of the jungle. Stranded deep within Amazonia with no hope of rescue, they are discovered by the Yaomi, a violent and superstitious Stone Age tribe. The Yaomi believe the strange-looking foreigners are freshwater dolphins in human form, and the Lindens believe that as long as they keep up the bizarre ruse, they'll be safe. But the jungle is dark, mysterious, and no place for a family of sham dolphin people who are ultimately left with only two choices: to escape or to die trying. It says Torsten Kroll is the author of Callisto. Nothing further is known about him. That is a good author blurb. Love the mystery. And then last and not least is our TBR lowdown pick for May. And we're super excited about this, and that is the Maleficent Seven by Cameron Johnston. This sounds so good. I believe this is a retelling of the Seven Samurais. It says one town, 7 bloodthirsty monsters, and their last hope. It's a grimdark, and I'm super psyched for it. A dark new faith is ravaging the lands of Essaran. Cities and towns crumble before its power, unprepared and unable to fight. Defeat and desolation seem inevitable, but dread demonologist Black Heron is not willing to give up so soon. 40 years ago, she abandoned her own bloodthirsty army on the eve of its final victory, but she won't do that again. To defend this new foe, she needs to reunite her old captains again: vampire, necromancer, orc chieftain, war god, twisted alchemist, and pirate queen. I love that combination of characters. Can she overcome their vicious rivalries, persuade them to forgive her betrayal? Will these 7 legendary villains even be enough to defeat an army of fanatics hell-bent on conquest? I love some of the quotes on the back. Visceral and gripping fantasy, horribly and hugely enjoyable. Here for it. I am tired and out of breath. I need my inhaler for this. So that is everything that I've apparently said that would be fun to read this month. There's also going to be some other stuff thrown in because I'm going on vacation, so half of this shit could be thrown out the window, other than my must-reads. could get thrown right out the window and become something else entirely, because that's what I want to read when I'm on the beach in 2 weeks. Stay tuned, I guess. It's a shame I don't do full wrap-ups. You know, if you do use Storygraph, please, like I said, please leave your link to your username or your username or whatever I can use to find you down below. I'll leave mine in the description, so if you want to find me, you can do that. I can pin it in the comments as well. Otherwise, I'm going to shut up and finish the Bone Orchard, got it right, before I run out of energy today, because I did run this morning and I'm going to need a little napito, hence the coffee. Let's push the nap, read the book, and that's it. If you've enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, please consider subscribing, like, comment, all that jazz. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Ciao.
So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think